You're the one who's gonna read it.
Ready? Alright, Raquel, this is for future reference. Start editing now. Ishmael, Chapter 12, Section 1. Along about 3 o'clock, the rains... Chapter 12.
Here, I wanna see if I can read.
Cut that shit out. Wait, no, don't cut it out. It's funny. Okay.
The freshies listening to this next year, they're gonna be like, what the?
Oh, shit.
They're gonna be like, we just wanted Chapter 12 of Ishmael.
Get ready. Get the tissues ready, sisters.
Wait, don't go ahead.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, just had to take a quick sip. So, here we go. Chapter 12, Section 1. Along about 3 o'clock, the rain stopped and the carnival yawned, stretched, and went back to work, separating the rubes from their money. At loose ends, once again, I hung around for a while. Let myself be separated from a few bucks, and finally had the idea of tracking down Ishmael's owner. This turned out to be a hard-eyed black man named Art Owens, who was 5.5 feet tall and spent more time lifting weights than I do at the typewriter. I told him I was interested in buying his gorilla. Gorilla. It is a fact, he said, not scornful, not impressed, not interested, not anything. I told him it was and how much it would take. Would take about 3,000. I'm not that interested. How interested are you? Just curious, not seriously interested himself. Well, more like 1,000. He sneered just a little, almost politely. For some reason, I like this guy. He was the type who has a law degree from Harvard, stuck away in a drawer somewhere because he never found anything to do with that appealed to him. I told him, this is very, very old animal, you know. He's been here since the 30s. This got his attention. He asked how I happened to come by that piece of information. I know the animal, I replied briefly, as if I might know thousands more like him. Might go 2,500, he said. Trouble is, I don't have 2,500. See, I already got a painter in New Mexico working on a sign for me, he said. Paid him 200 in advance. I could probably raise 1,500. Don't see how I could go below 22. That's a fact. The fact was, if it was right there in my hand, he'd be delighted to take 2,000, maybe even 1,800. I said I'd think about it. Thanks for listening.
Hey, guys. It's my turn now. Let's get to reading. Section 2. It was Friday night, so the suckers didn't start going home until after 11, and my synectress, Bright P, didn't come around to collect his $20 till midnight. Ishmael was asleep, sitting up, still bundled up in his blankets, and I didn't feel any qualms about waking him. I wanted him to reassess the charms of the independent life. He yawned, sneezed twice, cleared his throat of a massive phlegm, and fixed me in a bleary, malevolent glare. Come back tomorrow, he said in the equivalent of a mental croak. Tomorrow's Saturday. Hopeless. He wasn't happy about it, but he knew I was right. He managed to put off the inevitable, but laboriously rearranging himself, his cage, and his blankets. Then he settled down and gave him a look of loathing. Where did we leave off? We left off with a new pair of names for the takers and leavers. Those who know good and evil, and those who live in the hands of God. He grunted. We're gonna pause it for a second, so Yes.
We get our asses beat.
They go, you can only post serious things on Edmodo.
This is helping people that can't read.
It makes Ishmael.
Okay, hey guys, it's me. So I just checked in chapter 3, section 3 is like 5 pages long. So you're gonna hear my voice for a while. Sorry. What happens to people who live in the hands of the gods? What do you mean? I mean, what happens to people who live in the hands of the gods that does not happen to people who build their lives on the knowledge of good and evil? Well, let's see, I said. I don't suppose this is what you're getting at, but this is what comes to mind. People who live in the hands of the gods don't make themselves rulers of the world and force everyone to live the way they want to live, and people who know good and evil too. You've turned the question round back to front, said Ishmael. I asked what happens to people who live in the hands of the gods that doesn't happen to those who know good and evil, and you just told me the opposite. You know, the narrator's a little, stupid, so. Sorry, Ishmael. Okay, You just told me the opposite. What doesn't happen to the people who live in the hands of the gods, that does happen to those who know good and evil. You mean you're looking for something positive that happens to people who live in the hands of the gods? That's right. Well, they do tend to let people around them live the way they want to live. You're telling me something they do, not something that happens to them. I'm trying to focus your attention on the effects of this lifestyle. I'm sorry. I'm afraid I just don't know what you're getting at. You do, but you're not used to thinking about it in these terms. Okay. You remember the question we started to answer when you arrived this afternoon? How did man become man? We're still after the answer to that question. I groaned, fully and frankly. Why do you groan? Ishmael asked. Because questions of that generally intimidate me. How did man become man? I don't know. He just did it. He did it the way the birds became birds, and the way that horses became horses. Exactly so. Don't do that to me, I told him. Evidently, you don't understand what you just said. Probably not. Just to clarify it for you before we're homo, you were what? Australopithecus. That's a nice word. Australopithecus. Good. And how did Australopithecus become homo? By waiting. Please, you're here to think. Sorry. Did I'm probably saying it wrong. Australopithecus become homo by saying, we know good and evil, as well as the gods. So there's no need for us to live in their hands, the way rabbits and lizards do. From now on, we will decide who lives and who dies on this planet, not the gods. No. Could they have become man by saying that? No. Why not? Because they would have ceased to be subject to the conditions under which evolution takes place. Exactly. Now you can answer the question. What happens to creatures in general who live in the hands of the gods? Ah, yes, I see. They evolve. And now you can answer the question I posed this morning. How did man become man? Man became man by living in the hands of the gods, by living the way the Bushmen of Africa live. That's right, by living the way the Green Agor of Brazil live. Right again, not the way Chicagoans live. No, or Londoners. No. So now, you see what happens to people who live in the hands of gods. Yes, they evolve. Why do they evolve? Because they're in a position to evolve. Because that's where evolution takes place. Pre-man evolved into early man because he was Pre-man evolved into early man because he was out there competing with all the rest. He didn't take him, but
I messed up somewhere along there because it looked like it repeated the sentence.
okay. Pre-man evolved into early man because he didn't take himself out of the competition, because he was still in a place where natural selection is going on. You mean he was still part of the general community of life? That's right. And that's why it all happened. Why Australopithecus became Homo habilis, and why Homo habilis became Homo erectus, and why Homo erectus became Homo sapiens, and why Homo sapiens became Homo sapiens sapiens. Yes. And then what happened? And then the taker said, we had enough living in the hands of the gods. No more natural selection for us. Thanks very much. And that was that. And that was that. You remember I said to enact the story to live is so as to make it come true. Yes. According to the taker story, creation came to an end with man. Yes. So, how would you live so as to make that come true? How would you live so that as to make creation come to an end with man? Oof. Oof. I see what you mean. You will live the way the takers live. Oof. Oof. I see what you mean. You will live the way takers live. We're definitely living in a way that's going to put an end to creation. If we go on, there will be no successor to man, no successor to chimpanzees, no successor to orangutans, no successor to gorillas, no successor to anything alive now. The whole thing is going to come to an end with us. In order to make their story come true, the takers have to put an end to creation itself, and they're doing a damn good job of it. Thank you for listening to Section 3. Now it's time for Section 4.
Roller channel. She's rolling. I mean, remember that song?
When we began, I was trying to help you find the premise of the Taker's story. I told you that the Leaver story has an entirely different premise. Yes, perhaps your reading didn't articulate that premise now. I don't know. At the moment, I can't even think of the Taker premise. It'll come back to you. Every story is working out of a premise. Yes, okay. The premise of the Taker's story is the world belongs to man. I thought for a couple of minutes, then I laughed. It's almost too neat. The premise of the Leaver story is man belongs to the world. Meaning what? Meaning, I barked out laugh. It's really too much. Go on. It means that, right from the beginning, everything that has ever lived belonged to the world, and that's how things came to be this way. Those single-celled creatures that swam in the ancient oceans belonged to the world, and because they did, everything that followed came to being. Those uncolored-finned fish offshore of the continents belonged to the world, and because they did, the amphibians eventually came into being. And because the amphibians belonged to the world, the reptiles eventually came into being. And because the reptiles belonged to the world, the mammals eventually came into being. And because the mammals belonged to the world, the primates eventually came into being. And because the primates belonged
Okay, hey guys, this is Ishmael, part 5. Ishmael said, we know what happens if you take the taker premise, that the world belongs to man. Yes, that's a disaster. And what happens if you take the lever premise, that belongs to the world? The creation goes on forever. How does that sound? It has my vote. Thank you. Okay, guys, so chapter 6 is super fucking long. I hope. Oh, sorry, yeah, section 6 of chapter 12. Super fucking long. And if you're a teacher, stop listening now. Because. Just don't listen to. Because I just said the F word and I don't need anyone telling my mom. So, if you're a teacher, please leave. Thank you. Part 6.
I know. It's like 3 pages.
Oh, sorry. It's like 3 pages long. Something occurs to me, I said. Yes, it occurs to me that the story I just told is in fact the story of the levers. It occurs to me that the story I just told is in fact the story the levers have been enacting here for 3 million years. The taker story is the gods made the world for man, but they botched the job, so we just had to take matters into our own, more competent hands. The lever story is the gods made man for the world, the same way they made salmon and sparrows and rabbits for the world. This seems to have worked pretty well so far, so we can take it easy and leave the running of the world to the gods. That's right. There are other ways to tell it, just as there are other ways to tell the story of the takers. But this way of telling it is as good as any. I sat there for a while, thinking about the meaning of the world, divine intentions in the world, and the destiny of man according to this story. Go ahead. The meaning of the world, I think. The 3rd chapter of Genesis had it right. It's a garden, the God's garden. I say this even enough. I myself very much doubt that gods have anything to do with it. I just find this wholesome and encouraging way to think of it. I understand. And there are 2 trees in the garden, one for the gods and one for us. The one for them is the tree of knowledge, of good and evil, and the one for us is the tree of life. But we can only find the tree of life if we stay in the garden, and we can only stay in the garden if we keep our hands off the God's tree. Ishmael gave me a nod of encouragement. Divine intentions. It would seem there is a sort of tendency in evolution, wouldn't you say? If you start with those ultra-simple critters in the ancient seas, and move up step by step to everything we see here now, and beyond, then you have to observe a tendency toward complexity, toward self-awareness and intelligence. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. That is, all sorts of creatures on this planet appear to be on the verge of attaining that self-awareness and intelligence. So it's definitely not just humans that the gods are after. We were never meant to be the only players in this stage. Apparently, the gods intend this planet to be a garden filled with creatures that are self-aware and intelligent. So if it would appear, and if this is so, the man's destiny would seem to be plain. Yes, amazingly enough, it is plain, because it is first of all of these. He's the trailblazer, the pathfinder. His destiny is to be the first to learn that creatures like man have a choice. They can try to thwart the gods and perish in attempt, or they can stand aside and make some room for all the rest. But it's more than that. His destiny is to be the father of them all. I don't mean by direct descent, by giving all the rest a chance. The whales and dolphins, the chimps and raccoons. He becomes, in some sense, the progenitor. Oddly enough, hand it over to Melina so she can read the rest of section 6.
Sorry, there's just something stuck in my throat.
My voice hurts.
How so? Just think, in a billion years, whatever is around then, whoever is around then, says, man, oh yes, man, what a wonderful creature he was. It was within his grasp to destroy the entire world and to trample all our futures into the dust. But he saw the light before. It was too late and pulled back. He pulled back and gave the rest of us our chance. He showed us all how it had to be done if the world was to go on being a garden forever. Man was the role model for us all. Not a shabby destiny. Not a shabby destiny by any means. And it occurs to me that this gives a little shape to the story. The world is a very, very fine place. It wasn't a mess. It didn't seem to be conquered and ruled by man. In other words, the world doesn't need to belong to man, but it does need man to belong to it. Some creature had to be the first to go through this. Had to see that there are too many trees in the garden. One that has goods for gods, and one that has good for creatures. Some creature had to find the way, and if that happened, then there was just no limit to what could happen here. In other words, man doesn't have a place in the world, but it's not his place to rule. The gods have that in hand. Man's place is to be the first. Man's place is to be the first without being the last. Man's place is to figure how it's possible to do that. And then oh my god, I can't. Man's place is to figure out how it's possible to do that, and then to make some room for the rest of us who are capable of belonging that he's become. And maybe when the time comes, it's man's place to be the teacher of all the rest who are capable of becoming what he's become. Not the only teacher, not the only ultimate teacher, maybe only the first teacher and kindergarten teacher, but even that wouldn't be too shabby. And do you know what? All along, I've been saying to myself, yes, this is all very interesting, but what good is it? This isn't going to change anything. And now, this is what we need. I'm not stopping things, not just less of things. People need something positive to work for. They need a vision of something that, something that, I think what you're groping for is that people need more than to be scolded, more than to be made to feel stupid and guilty. They need more than a vision of doom. They need a vision of the world and of themselves that inspires them. Yes, definitely. Stopping pollution is not inspiring. Sorting your trash is not inspiring. Cutting down our fluorocarbons is not inspiring. But this thinking of ourselves in new ways, thinking of the world in a new way, this, I let go. What the hell? He knew what I was trying to say. Thank you. Time for section 7.
So, we're not gonna do section 7, because it's time to go. So you're just gonna have to read the rest of the chapter on your own. Sorry, losers. Bye guys, thanks for listening.
One last sip.
Oh. Very good.
Thank you everyone for listening.